Oi oi, welcome back to Toad. My name is Alex, and as hinted last time, in this video I'll be kitbashing a squad of 5 Chaos Scouts. The kits I used were the Chaos Warriors from the Slaves to Darkness range, Chaos Legionnaires, Phobos Space Marines, and then some sorted bits from other kits, such as the Chaos Terminator kit. My plan for this conversion was to create something similar to the Wolf Scout to the Space Wolves, in how they were solitary veterans of the Legion. This also ties more into how I personally see the Scouts working for the Chaos Space Marines, with their induction process being a bit more unique, shall we say, than the recruitment process of standard Marines. I wanted these models to stand slightly taller than a normal Marine, and on top of this appear very low tech, hence the more bare bones look I eventually went with for the models. To begin the conversion, for every single Marine, I started by gluing the bodies of the Chaos Warrior kit together, before then using my snips and hobby knife to shave down the arm connect to, lugs, I believe is the correct term. I then attached all the heads to the models, however, I would recommend not doing this till after you've done some of the more serious conversion work that will be happening later on in the video. For my first operative, I wanted to just go with a very simple conversion to be as a template. I had a bolt gun that was being held in one hand and a chainsaw. I removed the van brace and hands from the rest of the arms, as the body of the Chaos Warrior had the elbows already sculpted into the cloak. These arms were then simply glued to the elbow joints, leaving me with my first scout. The head I used on this Marine was one of the ones from the Chaos Warriors kit. However, you can use any helmetless head from the Chaos range. Following this, I wanted to build a squad commander. I did this using a body with one of his legs up on a tactical rock to indicate his importance. Now, the body I chose unfortunately had a shield built into it, which is why I wouldn't recommend attaching the heads first, but I set at it with an old pair of snips and a hobby knife to remove the bulk of the shield. When I finished cutting it away, I began scraping away to smooth the surface out using my scalpel at a perpendicular angle to the plastic part. Once this was done, I mixed a Gorilla Pup. This is a 50-50 mixture of green stuff and Milliput. I personally prefer it as it has the best properties of both without as many of the negatives. However, it does sometimes have some trouble with adhesion, so a blob of super glue normally fixes this if you have this trouble. I then placed this over the area where I had removed the shield and blended it into the cloak to bring back some of the detail with a silicone sculpting tool. I then left this to set before placing another blob of Gorilla Pup over the top area to recreate the fur texture. I started out by making some V-shaped cuts using my hobby knife, well lubricated with water to prevent sticking. I then teased these cuts up to look like matted fur, and underneath it, I then made a series of irregular overlapping cuts with my hobby knife. I then teased these up as well to look like a selection of different fur shapes and sizes that I then blended back into the rest of the fur detail on his cape. I left this to cure fully. Following this, I took 2 normal arms, one was a bolt pistol and one was a chainsaw, and then attached them to the body as they were, due to there being cavities where the arm should be on the body already. Next, I needed a heavy weapons operative. I chose a missile launcher to give the squad some good ability to take on different variety of threats. I started by cutting the cape away from the right arm of the body with my snips, where I then took a missile launcher from the Chaos Space Marine kit and attached it on using some plastic cement. This did include the shoulder pad, but to me this made more sense as the scout would need slightly more armour to absorb the recoil of the weapon. Following this, I then attached the arm holding a knife from the Chaos Space Marine kit, again using just the van brace in hand and attaching it to the left elbow. I also took a bundle of missiles that's found in the Legionnaire kit and cut it just so that I had the top half. I then used plastic cement to affix it to the left fold using way too much glue. I'd recommend using significantly less than I did in this situation. Following this, I then took some Gorilla Pup and remade the part of the cloak that I cut away, this time with it flowing into the shoulder pad. Once this was dry, I added an extra bit of Gorilla Pup to blend into the flayed skin found around the rest of the cloak. I cut a line in this top bit before then attaching a few small sausages of Gorilla Pup to act as stitches, to again help blend it into the rest of the model. For the last 2 operatives, I wanted to have another 2 Marines with bolt guns. I made the first one by attaching a bolt gun held in 2 hands to him. Once again, I cut the left arm at the van brace so I could attach it to the elbow of the Chaos Warrior body. However, with the right arm I just cut off above the elbow, meaning it looked like this. Following on from building the first Marine, I then practically followed the exact same steps in the second Marine. This one we're using a body that was in a running motion. I left both of them to fully dry before using Gorilla Pup to fill the gaps, that were left in their arms, using a mixture of the fur technique I did earlier and making it look like fabric with a silicone sculpting tool. And with that, I based the models, painted them up, and I was left with this. I did go on to make another further 5, these being centered around the bolt pistol and combat knife loadout, and gave them a heavy bolter. This was a shorter conversion as I am back at university, but hopefully you like it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and a like and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. However, no pressure there. But with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. I will be experiencing one of the scariest things of all for Halloween.